fact, the focus of today's session will be on the basic principles of 국선도 warm-up exercises, as well as those of 내관. And as you know, 내관 implies 국선도 mindfulness techniques. And as usual, today's practice will start with, of course, warm-up exercises. And I guess most of you are pretty much accustomed to the warm-up exercises. But why do you think I want to talk about them? Because I see many practitioners do the stretches just mechanically and unconsciously. So I want you to go back to the basics and think about why we need warm-up stretches and what key principles we should follow to maximize the effects of 국선도 training. Why do you think you do the warm-up stretches every day? There could be actually many different answers, but I would say the ultimate purpose of doing the warm-ups is to prepare you for the most important part of 국선도 training. That is 단전 breathing with various postures, which we call 행고. Then a question that arises, how does doing the stretches actually support your 단전 breathing and 행고? Can anybody spell it out? What's the relationship between the warm-up stretches and 단전 breathing? Doing the warm-ups actually helps you follow the 3 foundational principles of 국선도 training. That is 조신, 조심, 조식. As you may know, the Chinese character 조 here implies control, manage, or adjust. And 심 means the body. And 심 signifies the mind and energy. And 식 implies the breath or respiration. In fact, the importance of 3 principles is highlighted several times in Grandmaster Chengsan's books. He says he didn't just jump into 단전 breathing. First, he aligned the body. He settled his mind. Then he controlled the breath. So these are very, very important key principles of 국선도 training. Some people actually ask me to teach 단전 breathing and energy meditation. They want microcosmic energy circulation right away, but they don't want to learn the stretches. They want mysterious spiritual experiences right away. But whenever they ask me to, I always say no. You should prepare your body and mind first before trying breathing and energy meditation. Only then can I teach you proper 단전 breathing techniques. Otherwise, you will never be able to do deep and low 단전 breathing in a proper way. And in the worst case, you can even suffer from serious side effects of 단전 breathing if you don't know how to prepare your body and mind. So let me explain how doing the warm-ups can help you do 단전 breathing according to these 3 principles. Okay, let's start with 조신. Like I mentioned earlier, 조신 means managing or aligning your body. You can't do deep and long 단전 breathing if your spine and your pelvis are in the wrong position. And when your muscles around the spine and pelvis are stiff, it's very hard to do deep 단전 breathing, because to do deep and long 단전 breathing with your belly, your chest, your back, And your pelvis should be very open and flexible. Did you ever see very advanced practitioners actually do 단전 breathing? What's interesting about their breathing is when they inhale, not only their belly, but also their back and their pelvis, they actually expand together. What if you have very stiff muscles around your spine and pelvis? Such deep holistic breathing is impossible. So we got to really get prepared in terms of Joshi. And this is why we have a lot of spinal twist and pelvis exercises and the Kouksundo stretches, which I will explain in detail while we actually practice it. Next, 조심. We're actually living in very complicated society with a lot of distractors, just like Homer Simpson here. Before we start our daily Kouksundo practice, probably our mind is scattered, full of stray thoughts, study, work, social media, Facebook. And if your mind is scattered that way, that means your energy is scattered, because mind and energy always work together. However, while doing the warm-ups, by concentrating on each movement and breath, we can actually come back to ourselves, our center, and bringing our mind to the present moment and circulating energy throughout the body. Plus, Kouksundo warm-up exercises consist of a lot of spine and hip stretches, as I noted before. Why? Because such stretches will activate your microcosmic orbit naturally, so you can facilitate the flow of ki energy naturally. Lastly, 조식. I think all of you have watched his, warm-up exercises video. And in his video, Grandmaster Jimmo emphasizes the importance of breathing of the warm-up exercises. In each warm-up exercise, you should first inhale, then hold your breath, then make a movement, and when you come back to yourself, you should exhale. You should follow this sequence. And this way of breathing prepares you to do deep 단전 breathing. Because at the 건곤단법 stage and 원기단법 stage, you should actually breathe this way. Inhale, hold your breath, make a movement, and exhale. And especially the breath holding time called Ji is very, very essential to expand the center line of your body. I mean, like microcosmic orbit line. So warm-up exercises actually allow you to do this way of breathing in a natural way. One more thing, as you already know, most of the warm-up exercises actually came from Hengong postures. So doing warm-ups naturally familiarize you with various Hengong poses. Okay, next, let's move on to then how we should actually do the warm-ups. How can we maximize the effects of the warm-up stretches? Do you follow any principles when you do the warm-ups? I would say first, we should do the warm-up exercises as widely as possible. In his videos, Grandmaster Jimmo often says, 바짝. Did you hear that? 바짝 in Korea means as widely as possible so that you can stretch your spine and pelvis effectively and spread your energy throughout the body. And the second principle is as gently as possible. Why do you think it's important? Because the muscles are like babies. If you treat them harshly or brutally, they will resist your stretches. They get even stiffer. I think many of you have already experienced this. Whereas if you move the muscles gently, then they change more quickly and they become more flexible. So remember, the muscles in your body sensitively react to the way you actually deal with them. So treat them like babies in a gentle way, or treat them like your wives or husbands. Otherwise, they will resist your forceful stretches. And the third principle is as mindfully as possible. Why do you think it's important? Because our energy actually flows to where we put our mind into. If you concentrate your fingers, then energy actually flows to your fingers. Because as I noted before, mind and energy work together. And if you think about something else, if you have like stray thoughts while you make a movement, your energy doesn't reach there and your energy doesn't circulate well. So please keep these three principles in mind during today's practice. I'm going to highlight them like several times. And we will start the warm-up exercises soon. But before we start our warm-up exercises, do you have any questions or comments regarding what we have talked about? Okay. Karel, do you happen to have any ideas about warm-up exercises, or could you share your own experiences?
I think that you told it a very nice way, because for me the best first is to be very relaxed, and second, very relaxed mind, and third, to have a joy, because this is our natural state. And only after that to start with breathing, because to start with breathing, you will do the stress, hold and stress, very wrong. So the first is very smooth and with joy. This is the message. This is our natural state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Excellent comment. And then Aldona, she or he asked, what are the key differences between yoga and Kouksundo? That's a really good question, and I can talk about it for 2 or 3 hours. It's such a big question. I would say the type of yoga that is practiced widely these days, it's called yoga. Its focus is a lot on like asanas, whereas Kouksundo is a very holistic approach. It involves your mind, breathing, and energy all together. And I don't want to criticize, Indian yoga in general, because the original form of yoga, it has many different branches. And then it used to be practiced very holistically. And then I will tell you one commonality between Indian yoga and Korean yoga, Kouksundo. You know what yoga actually implies? What's the meaning of yoga? Yoga means union. Union between your body and mind. Union with the universe. Do you know what Kouksundo sun means? Sun. Also, union between humans and the universe. So I think at the fundamental level, what Indian yoga and Korean yoga pursue is the same. Does this answer your question? Any other comments or questions?